Good morning. Welcome back to yet another section of Indian writing in English. In our last class, we began the third poem, In Love, written by Kamala Das. We went through Kamala Das in detail. We also started the poem. So anyway, we can just revise the first two stanzas. In this bleak poem, Kamala Das describes her relationship with her lover or partner, which is based on physical coupling. She experiences her body as scorched and consumed by her lover in unpleasant ways. His kisses are like the burning mouth of the sun, and her lover limbs like carnivorous plants, reaching out to devour her. Neither image is pleasant or inviting. She calls her lust a sad lie. In her imagery, she appears consumed rather than fulfilled. She realizes this relationship is not what she would like it to be. Yes, she admits that while her mind is moody, not happy with the mere bodily component of her relationship, there is a certain pleasure in the physical relationship. She calls it deliberate gaiety, but at the same time understands the idea of pleasure with her image of it as harshly trumpeting into the room. Her imagery continues to convey the destructive quality of her relationship. All around her is a malevolent world. Okay. So, trumpets harshly into the silence of the room till we discussed in the last class. So we can start the rest of the lines in the poem, In Love. So all of you please be ready with the poem. Okay. At noon I watch sleek crows flying like poison on wings, and at night from behind the Budwan road, the corpse bearers cry, Bol Hari Bol, a strange lacing for mournless nights. So first of all, we can discuss these lines. Okay, we can write the difficult words. Here, sleek. Sleek means shining feathers. Sleek means shining feathers. Then Budwan road. Actually it is a road in Calcutta near the house in which she and her husband lived. Okay. The next one is here lacing. Lacing means decoration. Lacing means decoration. Okay. I think these are the difficult words. So we can go to the paraphrase. At noon, she is used to watch the crows flying like they are carrying poison in their wings. So at noon, actually, she is alone in her room. She has enough time. So that is why she has the habit to watch the crows. So at the moment she felt the crows flying like they are carrying poison in their wings. At night she listens to the sounds of the corpse carriers calling Bol Hari Bol. And even at night also she feels the loneliness. She has the habit to walk in the veranda. Then at the moment she hears the sound of corpse carriers. They are calling Bol and Bol Hari Bol. The The poet watches crows flying as if with poison on their wings. This might mean wicked people around her. So the wicked people moving about in the vicinity with evil aims. Actually, she compares the crows flying as if with poison on their wings with the wicked people. So the wicked people, they are moving about in the vicinity with evil aims. The poet seems to be indifferent at such sights. During night, she listens to the bol hari bol sound of people who carry dead bodies along the Burdwan road. This, the poet says, adds to the intensity of the darkness of the moonless night. So when she hears bol hari bol of the corpse bearers, definitely it increases the darkness of the dark night. At noon, I told you, she sees sleek crows whom she likens. Likens here means point out the resemblance to poison on wings. At night, she hears the corpse bearers who register their presence through the cries of bol hari bol as a strange lacing for moonless night. I already told you the sleek crows she compares with the wicked people. Moonless nights in this context take on some of the death-like associations in view of the close affinity between death and darkness. So she wants to connect the darkness with the death. That is why she says it increases the darkness of a dark night. Here the speaker's description of bol hari bol as a strange lacing for her moonless nights remind us of the owl's cry in Edward Thomas' poem The Owl. So you please go through the poem The Owl, written by Edward Thomas. Note it down, Edward Thomas, his poem is The Owl. So we can feel the same emotions in both these poems. In both cases, strange as they are, the respective cries foreground, death and decay, and break in on the unsuspecting listeners. So definitely you should read the poem, Edward Thomas poem, The Owl. Okay. So here she speaks about the sleek crows. I tell you, through this she compares with wicked people. Then at night she listens bol hari bol of the corpse bearers. Actually, it increases the darkness of the dark night. So here she is mixing with the dark and death. And even she is alone in these beautiful days of her marriage. Okay, so we can move to the next lines. While I walk the veranda sleepless, a million questions awake in me and all about him, and the skin communicated thing that I dare not yet in his presence call our love. Okay, here skin communicated thing. Skin communicated thing means lust. Okay, then we can go to the paraphrase. She loses her sleep and she walks through the veranda at night sleepless. Because I told you she is not at all happy in her marital life. Millions of questions come to her mind at that time when she is walking through the veranda. All the questions are about him, about her lover or partner. She never can call his presence as love. She doesn't feel it as love, since he is a skin communicated thing for her. She finds that he is a person whose actions are merely based on lust. At the same time, she is afraid to bring up the idea of love yet to her partner. She is afraid to reveal this fact with her partner. The word yet is possibly the most poignant word in this poem, because after the marriage many days already passed, yet she doesn't feel comfort to open up her mind towards her partner. That is the poignant word. Yet is the poignant word in this poem. Despite the bleakness the narrator experiences in her relationship, and despite her seeming inability to talk to her lover and expresses her feelings, she still longs for the lust to transfigure into love. Actually, even in their sexual encounter, she didn't feel it as love. So, still she longs for the lust to transfigure into love. The poet is in a sad mood. Numberless thoughts came to her mind. These thoughts keep her awake. No sleep comes to her. So she walks on the veranda. These thoughts are mostly about her partner. The poet seems to show dislike for the sexual act, though she does not object. She feels some kind of disenchantment in it. This is not the realization of true love. It is just a mechanical thing. That is why she used jigsaw. But the poet does not dare to say this in the presence of her husband. But she is afraid to reveal the fact with her husband. The female speaker of this poem hears the cry while walking the veranda sleepless. Subsequently, a million questions awake in her all about her partner and this skin communicated thing. The skin communicated thing suggests her awareness of the reduction of love into mere physical union as well as its cause. The question that assail her require immediate answer, and the answer that she finds is that real love goes for beyond the communicated thing, and aims at the sublimation of unending lust into eternal fulfillment through death. But one problem with still remains is that she dares not call it our love in his presence. If on the one hand it suggests the male's stubborn refusal to accept the extra physical dimensions of love, on the other hand, the partner is not at all ready to understand her feelings. He is not at all ready to take time to understand her. It also highlights the marginal status of the female speaker, who is forbidden to share her sights and insights with him. So that is why she doesn't feel free to talk with him, because there is no proper interaction with the husband and wife. The ironical title of the poem, In Love, is at once a realistic commentary on how a patriarchal society plateaus lust of as love, and on the proximity of eros and death and instinct in the perceiver's psyche. Who is in love actually? Is she or he really in love? And what does it mean to be in love? That is why the title is irony. These questions are all left either unanswered or ambiguously answered. Am I right? Since the woman is a prey to the carnivorous plans of the lovers' lumps after the sexual encounter, she feels physically and spiritually rooted or defeated. This feeling at a later stage waker her identity with both the dead and death. The sleek crows, we can call them as also scavenger birds. Okay, the sleek crows and the corpse bearers can both be projected as exteriorizations of her mental state, whereby even indulgence in this skin communicated thing causes a virtual death of her soul, because she can't enjoy the true love in their relationship. I think all of you understood this simple small poem. Okay, then let us discuss the question answers. Then the first one, his limbs like pale and carnivorous plants reaching out for me. Comment on the figure of speech. I think it is very simple question. You can easily find out the figure of speech. There is no doubt it is simile, because the poet likens the reaching out of her husband's limb to her to the plants that trap and digest insects and other small animals. What the poet means here is that she is not much interested in the sexual act, but when her husband reaches out his limbs to her, she is trapped into it. Then next one, when I lie ignoring my poor moody mind. What is the suggestion here? I think all of you remembered well. Through these lines, the poet here suggests that she is not a mood to enjoy sex. When she lies in bed without any emotion, her husband induces her into the sexual act and she just yields to it, because she doesn't feel it as a true love. The next question, where is room, excuse or even need for love? For isn't it each embrace a complete thing, a finished jigsaw? Comment on the diction and image. The diction is very simple, am I right? But at the same time, it is so powerful. Through a rhetorical question, the poet makes it clear that every embrace of the couple is equivalent to sexual act, which she calls a finished jigsaw. I told you, she feels it's just like a mechanical process. So here, finished jigsaw is a strong metaphor for sexual act. The next one, what is a strange lacing for moonless nights? Why is it a strange lacing? I think all of you remembered well. Okay. Usually lace work is done for decoration. We are very familiar with such a decoration works. For what we are lacing? To increase its beauty. Okay, so but the sounds made by men carrying dead bodies is sad. Okay, have you remembered the the corpse bearers? They started to tell "Bol Hari Bol." Actually, that sound made by men carrying dead bodies, it is very sad. It takes place in the moonless nights. So instead of enhancing the beauty, here the lacing adds to the darkness to the night. That is why even night is dark. That night is very dark. When she listens the corpse bearers Bol Hari Bol, it becomes dark. It increases the darkness in the dark night. So the lacing is very strange. The next important question, the skin communicated thing, explain. University repeatedly asked this question. By this skin communicated thing, the poet means lust or sex. One is induced into sex through touch even when one party is not interested. The touch of the other party instigates the former into sex. Okay, then we can go through the theme of the poem In Love. I told you Kamala Das, she is also a love poet. Love is a favorite theme in Kamala Das poetry. In most such poems, she complains that she does not get as much love as she expects. But in the poem In Love, she writes about disenchantment in love. She says that she is not interested in lust, but she yields to the interest of her husband only to oblige him. The poet says that it is a sad lie that she has unending lust. According to her, there is no room or excuse or need for such love for her. Every time she sleeps with her husband, he embraces her, and each such embrace gives her the fulfillment of love. She says that it is not a good mood for sex, but she submits herself to her husband. Thus, pleasure with deliberate gaiety enters the silent room. In the moonless nights, she walks on the veranda thinking about numberless things. Her thoughts are mostly about her partner. She hates the skin communicated thing, namely lust. But she dare not state this in his presence. What she really yearns for is true love. So, I already told you, through this poem, we will get the clear picture of the patriarchal society. The patriarchal society hide lust of as love and on the proximity of eros and depth and instinct in the perceiver's psyche. Then we can discuss about the diction and images in love. The language of the poem is quite simple, but it presents ideas in the most effective manner. At the beginning of the poem, the poet describes how during nights, when she sleeps with her husband, his limbs reach out to her, inducing her to sex. The poet describes this through a powerful simile. We already discussed it first. It is like the carnivorous plants attracting and trapping insects and small insects and digesting them. Again, the poet employs the metaphor, the finished jigsaw, to refer to the sexual act. I think all of you are familiar with the metaphor. Pleasure with deliberate gaiety trumpets harshly into the silence of room has personification. These are personification. I repeat, pleasure with deliberate gaiety trumpets harshly into the silence of the room. These are personification. He uses two images. Have you remembered the images? First one is the flying of sleek crows, like the poison on wing, and the corpse bearers cry, "Bol Hari Bol." Both these have some negative effect of the poet. I think if you remembered well, first one, sleep crows connects with the wicked people. The next one, Bol Hari Bol, actually that sad sound, it increases the darkness of a dark night. So both these have some negative effect on the poet. The first suggesting cunning and bad men, that it is the wicked people, and the other reminding of death. Death and decay. The poet says that these serve as a lacing for moonless nights, meaning that it adds to the darkness of the night. A lacing normally has a decorative function, but here it is used in the opposite meaning. The poet coins a new expression. Don't forget that, it is very important. The skin communicated thing. The skin communicated thing meaning lust. Thus we see that In Love is a poem that has been written in a beautiful poetic diction, and it has employed many strong and effective images. So, which are the figure of speeches used throughout the poem? First one is simile. I told you in the beginning itself, the limbs of her partner compares with the carnivorous plant. Then metaphor by the usage of the finished jigsaw. Then personification in pleasure with deliberate gaiety trumpets harshly into the silence of the room. Then the two images, sleek crows like the poison on wing, and Bol Hari Bol. And I told you, first one, the sleek crows compares with the wicked people. The next one, Bol Hari Bol, the corpse bearers voice, actually it increases the darkness of a dark night. So here the lacing is opposite it in its function. The next important usage is the skin communicated thing. It means lust. So these are the important points you should keep it in your mind relating the diction and images in love. Okay, then you don't forget that even I already spoke about the title of the poem. Actually the title is irony, because I told you actually we can ask so many questions. Who is in love? Is she or he really in love? And what does it mean to be in love? So actually these questions are left either unanswered or ambiguously answered. So the title is irony. So here we can see that Kamala Das actually has written a number of poems on love. In most of these poems she complains that she has not got enough love because of her practice of writing about her own personal things, especially things connected with marriage and sex. She has been included in the group of the so-called conventional poets. We already spoke about the conventional poetry in detail. She is often compared to Sylvia Plath. Sylvia Plath, one of her famous poems you should be studied in your 6th semester. Okay, anyway, she is often compared to Sylvia Plath. Then In Love is a poem slightly exceptional in the sense that it deals with love in a different point of view. The poem is about disenchantment in love. The poem is about disenchantment in love. Then when the narrator and her husband lie together in bed, the latter reaches his limbs out to her and induces her into sexual act. This the poet likens to the carnivorous plants attracting and trapping insects and small animals and digesting them. The husband does it under the pretense of satisfying the unending lust of his partner. The poet says that it is a sad lie. She is not at all in a mood to enjoy sex. She says that there is no need of it for her, because every time they lie mouth on mouth and embrace each other, there is the actual fulfillment of love. Pleasure with intentional joy trumpets harshly into the silence of the room. During the day, she watches crows flying with poisonous wings. This may be a reference to people with ill intentions staring at women. Actually, I told you it is relating the wicked people. Those people, they are staring at women. At night, she hears the cries of the corpse bearers from the Budwan road of Calcutta. The walks on the veranda amidst numberless questions about her husband. She is not interested in the sexual act, which the poet calls the skin communicated thing. All the same, she dare not tell this in his presence. What she wants is true love. So here the poet uses very suggestive figure of speech such as simile, metaphor, personification and also synecdoche. The reaching out of the husband's limbs are likened to the carnivorous plants attracting, trapping and consuming insects and other small animals. The finished jigsaw represents a sexual act when the poet says that the pleasure with deliberate gaiety trumpets harshly into the silence of the room. There is personification. Then limbs stands for human body. Thus a part is used to represent a whole and the figure used is synecdoche. Okay. I'm sorry, I forgot to speak about synecdoche, so you please note it down. Limbs stand for the human body. Here limbs. Limbs she compared with the limbs of her husband, just like carnivorous plants. So here limbs stand for the human body. So actually it is synecdoche because it represents a whole body of a human being. Okay. The poet calls a sexual act the skin communicated thing, that it is lust. On the whole, the poem is beautiful in the use of diction, imagery and figure of speech. They are very appropriate to the theme of the poem, disenchantment in love. I think all of you understood the poem well. So we will meet in the next class with a new poem, with a new short story. Till then, take care. Thank you.